Woe be to the Gormandizer. I'd like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahawashi Ba'Hashem Rucha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. You just heard the name of it. And of course, you know this is a lamb back off of the Elder Pastor's video. The Gormandizer is back on the attack. And when I read this word here, I remembered a particular scripture that actually uses this when you go into the definition. So I want to kind of highlight that precept and then just kind of just build off of that, because this Negro is crazy, man. Oh man, fucking the Gormandizer, man. So let's just go to the precept, because you already know who this is dealing with my main shit stain over here. You know, this big, I don't even know what to call him. This big ox, or a big ox. I'm gonna call him Big Ox. This dude will eat anything that ain't nailed down, man. Anything. Oh my Lord, I got some precepts to go into. So let's just get into this one in particular, and then we're gonna go to the point, and then we're gonna jump back up. Because I remember years ago looking up the particular word in this verse here. This is Titus chapter 1 verse 12. One of themselves, even a prophet of their own, said, the Cretians are always liars, evil beasts, slow bellies. Slow bellies, right? So I looked up the word slow bellies, and it's actually two words. You got the word slow, which is argos, which is free from labor or at leisure. In other words, they're lazy bellies. And then the bellies part is where you get the word gaster or gastere, which is, you know, the gastrointestinal system, which is, you know, your digestive system. So it says here, the belly, the womb, the stomach, a glutton, Gormandizer. So when I saw that on Pastor Tar's video, I remembered this particular word that was, you know, in this verse. It says, a man who is, as it were, all stomach, you know, of a glutton. A goddamn glutton. I watched about 19 minutes of a Pastor Tar's video. I gotta go finish watching it, you know. But this is what came to mind. This particular precept. So it says a glutton, Gormandizer, a man who was, as it were, all stomach, right? And that's gonna bring another meaning to this scripture here in Titus, the first chapter, right? So we're gonna start at the 9th verse and we're gonna go into it. Titus 1 and 9. Holding fast the faithful word as he has been taught, right? Because you have individuals that are coming into this, they're stumbling across other men's labors, and then they're building upon another man's foundation with bullshit, all right? Crap, dirt, you know, sand. It says that he may be able by sound doctrine, see, both to exhort and to convince the gainsayer, because you have gainsayers out there, and that's what the word is for. Those that are sincere, that think that they have the right way, but they're not being wicked. They're questioning what they believe, you know. And then once, you know, you bring out the truth, you know, in some cases they'll listen and they'll believe, you know, and then they'll leave what they were into and they'll be converted to the truth, right? It says, for there are many unruly and vain talkers and deceivers, especially they of the circumcision. Because this demon right here, he knows he's an Israelite, but he's just a wicked Judas blood goat, right? Then it says here, whose mouths must be stopped. Because this Negro is eating everything that ain't nailed down, man. Anything that has anything to do with food, whether it's lawful or not, he's shoveling it down his pie hole. All right, this Gormandizer, all right, whose mouths must be stopped. I mean, this is dealing with, you know, the false speeches that they're teaching, but literally this dude's mouth must be stopped, because he's shoveling in anything that ain't nailed down. He's shoveling in anything, as long as it has some nice seasoning on it, like that shrimp that he was showing, you know. He's shoveling it down the pie hole, down the chute, you know. So it says, whose mouths must be stopped, who subvert whole houses. And that's what they're doing, overthrowing whole houses, because the word subvert means to overthrow. Let's go to it. Subvert. The word for subvert is anatrepo. Anatrepo means to overthrow, overturn, destroy, to subvert. Right. So pretty much overthrow a household. To turn under. Sub is under, vert is to turn under. Or pretty much to turn away from the truth, to overturn or overthrow from the foundation. And what is the foundation? Yahushua. What did the Apostle Paul say concerning this truth that we have? Let's go to 1 Corinthians, the 3rd chapter. I'm being a little facetious with it, a little funny, but this is deadly serious, man. This is really no laughing matter. But we know we have a little fun with this stuff. This is 1 Corinthians 3:9. For we are laborers together with the Most High. You are the Most High's husbandry. You are the Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua's building. So there's a building going on here. Not a physical building, but a spiritual building. We're building back up the tabernacles of David. All right, that were destroyed, that were ruined, but now they're being built back up through the knowledge, which are the building blocks of this truth. All right. It says, according to the grace of the Most High, which is given unto me as a wise master builder. So you have wise master builders. Then you have hacks. You have those that don't know what the hell they're doing. They learn a couple of things. You see it all the time. You'll have individuals. So I've witnessed it many times. You have individuals that'll work for a particular company, dealing with carpentry. And then after a couple of years, they want to go start their own thing, and they leave, and they only know a certain amount of stuff. They really don't know all the intricacies because they didn't learn every little thing, but they took some of it and they tried to build. And when you see what they're doing, it's madness. I'll give you a story. There was an individual that we used to work for. Apostle Gabal worked for him. Bishop Manati worked for him. Apostle Rakal worked for him. I worked for him up in Massachusetts. We call him the Waterhead, and we were, working at this particular person's house, and it was like a little more intricate work. It wasn't, any just rough framing. It was like finished work. And they had me doing the chair rails, on the walls, and I was doing that, taking care of that. And he had this other individual that worked with us, to do this fancy rail, going down the stairs. Expensive rail. And he didn't know what the fuck to do. So he's doing it based off of the normal shit that you would do in the regular house. And by the time he finished, the top of it was, let's say, 36 inches, which is roughly about right. And the bottom was about 5 feet or more taller. Because he totally botched it. So he's taking some of the spindles and cutting them to length and actually adding a piece to the other one, which is not supposed to do that. Everything's supposed to be evil. Everything's supposed to be equal all the way down. He just didn't know what the fuck to do because he didn't learn that part. You see? And this is what happens when you take pieces of something, of a foundation of something, and add your own shit to it. It falls apart. All right. Nevertheless, you had to get rid of it. And I'm not sure if somebody else came in to do it or what the case was, but he lost, a lot of business because he really didn't know what the fuck he was doing, but he got basic knowledge of how carpentry works, and it's not that simple. It's not just about cutting and slapping shit together. You have to know what you're doing. You have to know foundations. You have to know, structures of building. You have to know what a carrying wall is. You have to know, where you're supposed to put these support beams and so on and so forth. Otherwise, you'll fuck somebody up. All right, and that's akin or the same as these individuals building, with this knowledge that they learn and adding all this other nonsense to it. Because they're not wise master builders. They're hacks. I have laid the foundation and another builder thereon. See? So the Apostle Paul, as a wise master builder, laid the foundation. And what's the foundation? Yahushua. These individuals are building on Jesus. They're building on Christ. And even the ones that call on Yahushua's name are building on bullshit. All right? And another builder thereon. Like the Gormandizer. McGormandizer. And I bet you this individual will go to McDonald's and wolf down one of those boffy meals. No Buffy cheeseburgers. I bet you he'll wolf that shit down with no problem. All right, where are we at? Okay, it says, but let every man take heed how he buildeth thereupon, right? Because there's a formula. You can't just build however you want. There's a formula to it. Just like this individual tried to build this rail without knowing the proper formula. He destroyed that whole set. They had to rebuy everything again. He did not know what the fuck to do. It says, for other foundation can no man lay than that is laid, which is Yahushua. So there's a foundation already laid. And when you try to build upon another man's foundation, if you're not building properly, then it's going to fall apart. All right? So subvert means to overthrow or overturn from the foundation. Ruin. And that's what they're doing. All right, so going back here, Titus 1:11, whose mouths must be stopped, who subvert whole houses. And that's why you have those zombies. You could hear them in the background. They did sound like a bunch of zombies, just like some sheep that's just lost. Everything he said, bah, bah, you know. And, you know, part of you feel sorry for them, but then again, not really, because Yahushua said, let them alone. They be blind leaders of the blind. And if the blind lead the blind, they shall both of them fall into the ditch. You know, it's not like they don't have, you know, the true prophets telling them that this individual is going off, you know, but this is what happens when you choose to learn about the truth according to your own appetites, serving your own belly, you know, because you're not doing it out of the sincerity of your heart as to pleasing Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, but to pleasing yourself. All right, it says teaching things which they ought not, right? Like this individual is teaching things which he ought not. Now, Yahushua said it best. Let's go from there to Matthew. Basic, fundamental building block scriptures. Matthew 5:17. This is out of Yahushua's mouth. Matter of fact, let's hit the red letter edition. See, it's in red. Matthew 5:17. Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. Yeah, because another thing, they're saying that the Apostle Paul went off because he was teaching against the law. He wasn't teaching against the law. He was telling them, these individuals, that look, you can't receive salvation by keeping the law 100%. Pretty much, in so many words. You know, it's by faith. But also, just because you have faith doesn't mean that you make void the law. I don't know how much plainer it has to be. But you have these individuals that got a hard on for not accepting the Apostle Paul's writings. You know, because it doesn't fit their narrative. It says, I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. See? So he came to fulfill, not to destroy. And what does it mean to fulfill? Fulfill everything that was written about him. The only thing that is not a part of the law anymore is the law of sacrifice for sins. Because Yahushua covered that already. But as far as free will sacrifices and different sacrifices like that, yeah, there will be sacrifices in the kingdom, but not for sin offerings. This is how we know that the book of Ezekiel, from about the 41st chapter to the end, is not talking about no third temple, and it's not talking about the kingdom, because in that, when you read through those chapters, it speaks about offering for sin offering. And there's not going to be no sin offering in the kingdom of heaven. Because all Israel, all that people shall be righteous. So what would they need? What is sin? Sin is a transgression of the law. If the laws are going to be inside of us, how in the hell are we going to go off? And the world is going to be totally different. The vibration of the earth and everything is going to be righteousness. This is the promise of the Most High, new heavens and a new earth, which is the same heaven and the same earth under new management. It says, for verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled. When Yahushua fulfilled that, guess what? The law of sacrifice is no longer in effect for sins. This is what the book of Hebrews is about. This is what the Apostle Paul was breaking down in the book of Hebrews. And you have other individuals that got a problem with the Apostle Paul. All right? Not just ones that know that they're Israelites, even Muslims and other individuals that talk shit about the Apostle Paul. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so. he shall be called least in the kingdom of heaven. So the Gormandizer, as big as he is, he's going to be called least in the kingdom of heaven, because he's breaking the law and he's also teaching that, to break the law. And he has his congregation that he's following, that's following him, breaking the law because of him. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. See, for I say unto you that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and the Pharisees, in other words, you're not a hypocrite, you shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven. All right, so this individual is not going to make it on the first trip. This guy is full of abominations, and which we're going to get to. So Titus 1:11, whose mouths must he stopped, who subvert whole houses, teaching things which they ought not, for filthy lucre's sake. And we believe this guy took the bag. It's not, it's not far-fetched for an individual like that to take the bag. Because there's no way that, you being a Hebrew Israelite, knowing who you are, knowing the law, statutes, and commandments, that you would just blatantly, nilly-willy, break the law, and tell people to eat abominable foods. And if you go by the vision that the Apostle Peter had about the unclean beast, on the sheet that was knit in the four corners, that's not talking about unclean foods. And if you read along in the chapter and go into the 11th chapter, it breaks it down what that vision meant. That's why around the 28th verse, you keep going down, it says that the Lord told him that he shall call no man common or unclean. Because he said, nothing common or unclean has ever entered into my mouth. That wasn't dealing with actual beasts, unclean beasts. It was talking about the Israelite foreigners. All right. It says, one of themselves, even a prophet of their own, said the Cretans are always liars, evil beasts, slow bellies. And when you look up this word slow bellies, or the word bellies, right, it goes into the word gaster or gaster, which is where you get the gastrointestinal system, which is your whole digestive system, both, from the stomach, gastric acid, then it goes down, because it comes down your esophagus into your stomach. You have that gastric acid, hyaluronic acid, goes into the small intestines, and every part of the digestive system, is used for a certain particular function. Like in the stomach, this is why your teeth, digestion begins in the mouth. This is where you have saliva. Saliva is, helping the food break down. Then you're chewing it, and the better you chew the food, the easier it is for the stomach to break it down. Once it goes through the acid process in the stomach and breaks down all of that, it turns it into like liquid, and that liquid, so to speak, to a certain degree, will go through your system. And the small intestines absorb certain parts of it, certain things, certain minerals or nutrients. Then it continues on, goes into the large intestine, which the large intestine absorbs certain nutrients out of it, and then it goes down, what's not needed in the body gets shitted out. All right. So the belly, the womb, the stomach, a glutton, Gormandizer, a man who was, as it were, all stomach. All right, now we're making fun of this individual because he's a demon. The scriptures speak about those that couldn't finish, that they'll be mocked. But this is all actually dealing with a person's mind. That's all about themselves. But you do have those gluttons out there that are lazy and that are pretty much teaching other Israelites to forsake Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right. Now, moving on, Isaiah 65:2, I have spread out my hands all day unto a rebellious people, which walketh in a way that was not good, after their own thoughts. And that's what this individual is doing. He's walking after his own thoughts. All right. He's not walking after Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. He's walking after his own thoughts and using the names of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai to make it seem like he's righteous, having a form of godliness but denying the power thereof. Every work that this dude does is abominable and reprobate. All right. It says, a people that provoketh me to anger continually to my face, that sacrificeth in gardens and burneth incense upon the altars of brick. And it's a wonder how this individual is still standing and not, the Lord don't just kill his ass. you know, for tempting the Lord like that. But you have to have these examples. Why? Because it's written. It says, which remain among the graves and lodge in the monuments. Right, because back in the days, you know, you had Jake that would go and, you know, and worship in secret. But this individual, he's doing it out in the open. It says, which eat swine's flesh. And that's, you seen it. He said, yeah, this is this and this is that. You had the, I don't know if they had the pork in this one, but they had the pork in other ones. You know, he had the shrimp in this. He had all the catfish and all kind of other bullshit. It says, and broth of abominable things is in their vessels. See? You got the shrimp. I'm going to get a close-up so you can see the seasoning. You see the seasonings on that bad boy? You know? And broth of abominable things is in their vessels, which say, stand by thyself, come not near me. Yeah, because they're acting like they're holier than us, because they're calling us the Pharisees, like as if being a Pharisee was something wicked. The Apostle Paul was a Pharisee. You had Pharisees that were righteous. You know, oh yeah, that's right. He said they had spaghetti. That's right, they had spaghetti. You're right. They had spaghetti with smoked sausage too. Pork, of course. You know it ain't gonna be no venison sausage or no turkey sausage. You know, although they have those options, you know it ain't gonna be that. And like Apostle Tara pointed out, everything in that fucking thing was all deep fried. And then Jake wondered why they all fucked up. And you know, I ain't gonna, man. I ain't gonna say nothing. Which say, stand by thyself, come not near to me, for I am holier than thou. Right, and that's how these devils act. This demon right here acting like he's holier. Oh, no, this is for the Pharisees. I know they're gonna hate this one. You know, these are a smoke in my nose, a fire that burneth all the day long, and it's just a matter of time before the Lord gets these devils. Behold, it is written before me, I will not keep silence, but will recompense, even recompense into their bosom. So the Lord's going to get you eventually. The Lord's going to get you eventually. Now, I was going to go here to First Maccabees, the second chapter. You could read this whole chapter. This is dealing when they brought, I'm going to just jump to the 12th verse. This is the introduction of Mattathias, which was the father of the 5 sons, you know, which the book of Maccabees was really named after the family, but really it was named after Judas Maccabees, because he was the one that was called Maccabees, because he was, you know, kicking the nation's asses like a hammer. He was hammering them, you know. But the label became general among his family, but it was really, you know, his name that it was given to. But when we jump down to the 12th verse, this is Mattathias speaking, right? It says, behold, our sanctuary, even our beauty and our glory is laid waste, and the Gentiles have profaned it, right? So I just want to just make the certain points. 16, and when many of Israel came unto them, Mattathias also and his sons came together, because you had this representative from among the heathen that came and said, look, you know, y'all should just do these sacrifices, you know, and cement your friendship, you know, with the king, dealing with Antiochus Epiphanes, you know, so on and so forth, right? Then answered the king's officers and said to Mattathias on this wise, thou art a ruler and an honorable and great man in this city, and strengthened with sons and brethren. Now therefore come thou first and fulfill the king's commandment, like as all the heathen have done, yea, and the men of Judah also, and such as remain at Jerusalem, because you had a lot of this proves that those Israelite foreigners were, majority of them were southern kingdom. All right. So shalt thou and thy children be in the number of the king's friends, and thou and thy children shall be honored with silver and gold and many rewards. Hey, isn't this what Esau does today? You know, when they have Jake, you know, in these different parties, you know, where they try to make Jake, you know, forsake their power. Well, this is what was going on back then. Nothing new. Then Mattathias answered and said and spake with a loud voice, though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him and fall away everyone from the religion of his fathers and give consent to his commandments, yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers. So he pretty much took the stance of Joshua. As for me and my house, we shall serve the Lord. The Most High forbid that we should forsake the law and the ordinances. But you think this big brute here would have did that? Hell no. He would have been first in line. He'd have cooked the pork and devoured the pork right in the face of these. He was one of them that did that, and he was one of the ancients that did that. So we will not hearken to the king's words to go from our religion either on the right hand or the left. Now when he had left speaking these words, there came one of the Jews in the sight of all to sacrifice on the altar which was at Modin, according to the king's commandment. That was probably this demon right here. He probably rolled up, getting his pork ready, sacrificing it on the altar, and Mattathias was looking at him. It says, which thing when Mattathias saw, he was inflamed with zeal, and his reins trembled. Neither could he forbear to show his anger according to judgment. He couldn't contain himself. Wherefore he ran and slew him upon the altar. All right, so he took this individual and slew him. He cut him down. All right. He deleted him, so you could understand. Also, the king's commissioner, who compelled men to sacrifice, the individual that was talking that talk, he killed at that time, and the altar he pulled down. All right. Thus dealt he zealously for the law of the Most High, like as Phinehas did unto Zambri the son of Salom. And Mattathias cried throughout the city with a loud voice, saying, whosoever is zealous of the law and maintaineth the covenant, let him follow me. Because you had the majority of Jake back then that was sacrificing to these demon idols, of the Greeks at that time, which were Edomites, and forsook the law, statutes, and commandments. This is why they were known or called heathens. Because even at this time, these Israelites that remained faithful to the Lord, they were looking at those other ones as sellouts. So how much more during the time of Yahushua, when this history was still fresh in Jake's mind back then. And that's why they had a disdain for the Israelite foreigners. That's why they said that Paul was bringing in heathens, into the temple, because they were Israelites that went back to this time. And if you don't understand that history, you're not going to understand the mystery of the Gentiles in the New Testament. Those are Israelite foreigners, And through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai, we're going to bang on it, And we're going to keep talking about it. Whenever the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai gives us the inspiration and, and allows us to speak it, and bring it out. So he and his sons fled into the mountains and left all that ever they had in the city. Yeah, fuck all of that, because it pretty much, at that point, Jerusalem was defiled. So there had to be a rededication. That's what Hanukkah is about, Feast of Lights, which Yahweh also kept, And that's not written, in the first 5 books of the law, which the Lord gave to Moses to give to the Israelites, So where was the Hanukkah? Why was Yahweh worshiping Hanukkah if the Apocrypha was not valid? Anyways, Ecclesiasticus 30 and 25, a cheerful and good heart will have a care of his meat and diet. Now there's another one in the Apocrypha. I'm not sure exactly where it is. I believe it uses also the word meat. But this is he doesn't have care of his meat and diet. That's why he's on dialysis. That's why he's morbidly obese pretty much. He could barely breathe. He he might be on oxygen. Who knows? But because he doesn't have a care of his meat and diet. He doesn't have the discipline to do that. And he devoured everything that he showed. He devoured it. Everything that he showed in that video, he went through it and devoured it. Matter of fact, look at that. Catfish. All types of abominations. Shrimp, scrimp. These greens got some kind of pork in it. I don't know if those are potatoes. sure they probably had biscuits there. They had cake right there. They had cake. So we don't know if this was the Passover or what the case may be. But this is what this individual is doing, and he's pushing Jake to do. So the Lord is going to destroy this demon. The Lord is going to destroy this demon. Spaghetti with smoked sausage. Catfish. Shrimp. And he said, I'm going to get a close-up so you can see the seasonings on this bad boy or something like that, he said. So he doesn't take care of his diet. And he's teaching men to break the laws. And women. That's when then when he said something about that Issachar chick, I think that was what he said to her. And she said, hey, she started laughing. I thought about that scripture, silly women. Because these women don't know any better. But hey, they're going to get what they get for following this demon right here. This demon. All right. So with that, pretty much that's all I'm going to say on it. Check out this video. The Gormandizer is back on the attack. I called it Woe Be to the Gormandizer. And, that was based off of Titus, the first chapter, the 12th verse, where it speaks about slow bellies. The word bellies is Gormandizer, stomach, a man as it were all stomach, all belly, which the Gormandizer is. So with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. Till the next time I say shalom.